Hello everybody, this is Casey with SimplePotential.com, and today we're going to be taking a look at our upcoming project, Bazkur Games. This is a website being designed for the YouTuber Bazkur, and on this page he will be using it to not only display things such as his recent videos, but also a place to provide supplemental content for his viewers, such as guides, news, and tips. As we take a look at this webpage, we just want to point out a few things really quickly. We do have a welcome page here, which is something Bazkur can change on his own. This is also a place where a notice could show up at the top of the page. He does not currently have one set up, however he could have a notice that shows up and lets his viewers know of something really important, and it'll show up at the very top of the screen. He's currently showing his My Videos. He currently has it set to 3. However, he could set this to as many videos as he would like to pull back from YouTube, up to a specific limit that the API allows, which I believe is somewhere around 150. However, that would, for obvious reasons, not be the best idea to pull anyways. As you hover over the individual images, you'll see that you get the publish date and as well as the title. All of the YouTube content that you see on this page will be pulled from the YouTube API, such as the images here, the titles, the publish date, and other information that you will see as we browse the page. The featured videos is a slider presentation that we have created for Bazkur. It's based simply on some CSS code and some JavaScript. There's not a whole lot to it. We didn't want to use a tool that was out of the box that required all kinds of different copyright information be applied to it as well. So we created our own. It's really simple to use. As you can see, it's flipping through roughly every 4 seconds, and it has a transition effect, and if you hover over it, it will pause. It won't flip to the next image, and it will display the title of the video. If you hover over the right or the left side, you'll get arrows where you can manually flip through the slider. It's worth noting that he can set this so that it is not on a timer and forces manual transition. However, we don't believe that that would be an effective use of this space. As we scroll down the page, you'll see like the section Random Gaming Tips. This is data that is stored in a MySQL database. These tips are pulled randomly, and you will get one tip every time the page is refreshed. You can also click on View All Tips, which will show you every single tip that is available in the system. Scroll further down on the page, there's a Recent News section. This is a section in which Bazkur can put articles to other people's web pages, or even to tidbits that he is producing himself that are news for games, such as Overwatch has a new character coming out to play. Below that are the most popular video sections. We first have them by views, so these are the videos that have the most views. One thing we plan to add to this is the number of views that they have within the description here. Most popular by rating would be the videos that have the most likes on them. On the right hand side, we have a home button, which just takes you back to this index page, a contact button, which will take you to a contacts. We are encouraging Bazkur to include a contact form here, which we will develop for him. There's an About page, simply outlining who Bazkur is, what his channel is all about, and what he plans to do with this web page. And eventually there will be a privacy policy listed here as well, which we are just waiting on Bazkur for the content. On the site navigation, you have submenu system, for which you can pull back different information about the various games and items on his page. First Impressions is not based on any particular game, but rather based on his first impression of a game that he might turn into a Let's Play, which would show up on this list. There can be any number of menus listed on here. However, at this time you can only have one set of submenus. This is from a design perspective. We did not want this to get to be too big of a tree. There is a featured article section, for which this is a blog that Bazkur has written, and if you click on it, you can read the entire blog. There is an advertisement section which currently lists our logo. However, this will eventually be a Google AdSense account, assuming Bazkur is approved. And lastly, there is page info, just his Twitter account, his YouTube account, a little blurb stating that we made the page, and his copyright. It is worth noting that this is a completely responsive site as well. If I go into developer mode, I can display that for you. You will see that our side menus are now gone. The page is skinnier, obviously. The logo has wrapped. And we now have a single menu option. If I click on it, you will get a site navigation that pops up. The menus are all identical, with the exception of Home, Contact, and About, which were along the top of the screen, are now listed here in this menu. As you will notice, the screen blacks out and I can no longer click on anything below it. However, I could still scroll through it if I'd like. This menu is also scrollable should it have overflow. So you can see all of the recent videos have now adjusted to be fitting within the content, and the hovers no longer function at this point. However, if you tap and hold, you will still get the information coming up. This is because on a touchpad there is no hover component. Random gaming tips still display, the recent news still display, as well as most popular by views and by ratings. However, you will notice that all of the sidebar content is gone at this point. If I flip it into landscape mode, you'll see it still functions. However, because he only has it set to full 3 videos, we have a little bit of a odd issue here going on. It's not really a problem, it just happens to be the way it is wrapping, and it is still fine. Were this 4 videos, they would line up perfectly. If I take this into an iPad, you will see that on a bigger screen we still get it, and everything still looks pretty much the same. If I take it into a full responsive mode and just drag things around, you will see eventually that you will end up in a resolution that the design doesn't really work as well in, and you will see that it is best viewed in 1024 by 768 or higher. Now then, if we take a look, we've seen blog already. There's one single blog at this time. However, once he has more, you will see them listed down here below. And if you click through, it is the blog we saw earlier. If I go into builds, this is actually a list of videos for builds that Bazkur has made within the game Path of Exile. This is a design choice for the image to be slightly offset from the border of the rest of the design. We thought that that was a pretty good look for this page. All the tags and detail coming from this section, including the image, are being pulled from the YouTube API. This list is being generated from a playlist that Bazkur has set up on his YouTube channel. If we go down further, you can also see helpful sites. This is nothing more than a list of links. It is kind of temporary. The design is still being worked on. However, it is fully functional. Ideally, I believe we would have rounded corners on these edges. Perhaps it would look exactly like we have it set up here on recent news. This seems to be a really good look. We have a quick tips section, which is exactly the same tips that we saw on the front screen, except for they are filtered by the game that we are currently looking at, in this case, Path of Exile. Were I to look at Hearthstone quick tips, you would see we have a single tip at this point. Reviews. These are just videos pulled from a playlist on YouTube using the YouTube API. As well as YouTube All Videos, which is again another playlist for this. We could have also done this via tags. However, Bazkur has indicated that not all of his videos are tagged appropriately to be able to be pulled back simply by the tag. Thus, we are using a playlist still. Clicking on any one of these videos will open it onto Bazkur's YouTube channel. This was a design choice by him. We could have embedded the links on this page and actually loaded the video in an iframe, just as we do on simplepotential.com within the Let 'em Dare section. This is an admin page for which Bazkur can add quick tips on his own. All he has to do is provide a title, select a parent game which corresponds to the menus over here for which in the database they have been checked as a game, and then this list he can pick and it'll show up in this list over here as well as on the quick tip section stating that the game is Path of Exile, Banished, Cities of Skylines, or whichever game he happens to choose. He can insert the tip here, and it can include HTML and should be enclosed in paragraph tags to fit the design of the page. However, there is code to check if the entire content is wrapped in paragraph tags, and there's a checkbox to enable this tip. A list of tips are provided below for which he already has, and should he want to edit one of them, all he has to do is click on the Edit Control button, which will load the content up here for him to edit. He can enable or disable the tip from here, or change any of the content that he likes and click Update, and the tip will be updated. I am not going to do this today because I don't want to adjust his content for him. There will be other tools that he can use to update things such as the videos that show up here, the number of them, the number of videos that can show up on the slider, how quickly it filters on its own, turning off whether or not it's controlled manually or via timer, and other sections such as recent news and adding new menus. We plan to make this fully functional for Bazkur so that he doesn't have to ask us to do things for him that he could do on his own. That wraps up this video. Should you have any questions, please see the content below to send us an email. Check out our webpage, simplepotential.com, for any further assistance. Thank you.